Ginika was a woman who lived in the center of a little African town where the drumbeat of nature was the rhythm of life. She was a mysterious and respected woman whose presence moved over the village's dusty roads and thatched roofs like a soft breeze. Ginika was more than just a typical peasant. She was a keeper of long-forgotten secrets and customs that had been handed down through the ages. In the middle of Ginika's world rested her most valuable item, a drum unlike any other, made from the robust baobab tree trunk and decorated with elaborate designs carved by expert hands. As Ginika played, her hands were supposedly guided by the spirits of her ancestors, who were housed in the drum, a receptacle of wisdom and power. Ginika would take her spot beneath the sweeping branches of the ancient baobab tree at the edge of the village every evening as the sun sank below the horizon. There, beneath the canopy of stars that stretched across the vast African sky, she would begin to play her drum. The wonderful music that reverberated through the air like a call to the soul would attract the villagers around. With their faces lit by the fire's flickering light, they would sit in respectful stillness while Ginika's fingers danced over the worn surface of the drum. Ancient and primordial, the rhythm wove in a tapestry of sound that conveyed tales of tragedy and triumph, love and grief. Ginika seemed to draw from a higher plane of consciousness with every beat, infusing ageless knowledge into her songs. But the healing power contained in Ginika's drum was what drew the villagers to her side, not just the beauty of her music. Ginika's family had a long history of healing people, mending damaged bodies and comforting troubled souls with the power of their drum. Because of this, the villagers came around Ginika every evening, not only to listen, but also to find comfort and healing in the mesmerizing beats of her drum. For in the heart of this small African village, Ginika was more than just a woman. She was a beacon of hope in a world filled with darkness, a reminder of the power of music to heal the body, mind, and spirit. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows over the village, a weary traveler by the name Chibuike stumbled into its heart. His face was marked with pain and tiredness, and his clothes were ragged and smeared with dirt. From dangerous mountains to scorching deserts, his journey had been full of danger, and he had come dangerously close to dying from the weather on several occasions. However, Chibuike had persevered due to sheer willpower and a glimmer of hope in his heart, motivated by the whispered promise of recovery, because he had heard stories during his travels about a strange woman who could heal the ill and injured with just a touch of her magical drum. Chibuike's eyes met Ginika's as the villagers moved aside to make room for him. She was seated beneath the ancient baobab tree, her sacred drum cradled in her lap. There was an air of tranquility about her, a quiet strength that seemed to radiate from her very being. With trembling hands and a voice thick with emotion, Chibuike approached Ginika, his heart pounding in his chest. He fell on his knees in front of her and said, "My dear healer, please, I beg of you, heal my wounds with your magical drum." Ginika looked at him with a curious and compassionate look that cut through the layers of anguish and pain that covered him like a shroud. She put out her hand and touched his shoulder tenderly, her touch full of compassion and warmth. She whispered, "Rest now, young man," her voice a comforting remedy to his bruised spirit. "I will do what I can to ease your pain." Chibuike allowed himself to be guided to a tuft of fluffy grass beneath the baobab tree, a sensation of relaxation sweeping over him. He closed his eyes and let Ginika's fingertips dance over the worn surface of the drum, creating a tapestry of sound that seemed to pierce right through his entire existence. And Chibuike had a wave of calm that washed over him like cold water on a dry desert landscape as the rhythmic beats filled the air. The agony and misery that had befallen him for so long seemed to be being drawn out by the music itself, as though it were reaching out to hug him. Ginika performed non-stop for hours, her hands gliding with an almost supernatural elegance and precision. Chibuike experienced a sensation of freedom and lightness he had not experienced in years as his burden started to fade with every drum beat. Chibuike's wounds had mysteriously healed as daylight broke, leaving no reminder of the agony and misery that had formerly afflicted him. He thanked Ginika for her generosity and compassion, tears welling up in his eyes, and promised to tell everyone about her amazing skills. But Ginika just grinned, comprehension glimmering in her eyes. "My drum was never the main reason for your healing," she muttered. "It had to do with the empathy and compassion that each of us possesses. All that my drum does is channel that love into the hearts of individuals who are in need." Indeed, the transformative power of Ginika's compassion was evident as the village continued to resonate with the soothing beats of her drum. Not only were the outward wounds being healed, but also the profound anguish and suffering that persisted in the minds and souls of individuals who sought her assistance. Ginika continued to heal the ill and injured with her drum, bringing compassion and love to everyone she encountered as the days grew into weeks and the weeks into months. People traveled from far-off places to seek her out in hopes of finding comfort and healing as her fame grew. But regardless of how far she went or how many people she impacted, Ginika never lost sight of the real source of her strength, the limitless compassion that pounded inside her. In the heart of a small African village, where the rhythm of life danced to the beat of nature's drum, Ginika's legacy lived on, a testament to the transformative power of love, compassion, and the healing magic of music. As the story of Ginika and her drum spread far and wide, it became a symbol of hope and inspiration for all who heard it. A reminder that no matter how dark the night may seem, there is always a glimmer of light waiting to guide us home.